Good evening, this is Hassan Khan and you're listening to Tactical Talk Radio, a brand new show that aims to enlighten the audience on global and regional current affairs and geopolitical matters. Today we'll be discussing regional conflict in South Asia in the context of Kashmir's future and the Afghan peace process. We have with us Ali Rashid, an entrepreneur who is a member of the Pakistani Parliament affiliated with the MQM. He joined us now from Islamabad. Welcome to the show, Ali.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you for having me.
Ali, my first question is that what steps should Pakistan take on diplomatic level for resolving the Kashmir conflict, given the fact that India refuses to hold talks and is still stuck on the alleged cross-border terrorism mantra?
Well, Hassan, to be very honest, I think Pakistan is doing all it can to resolve these issues. And not from now, I think it's been a while, but for some reason, we don't see India budging from their very, their hue and cry, and they're not willing to accept Pakistan since the creation of Pakistan. And since then, they've been trying to create problems for Pakistan. But I feel that, time has come. Times change. Pakistan is a growing power, so is India. If you look at the history, if you look at the United States, America, and Canada, back in the day, they've been to war thrice. But when Canada actually realized that the US is on its way to become a superpower, then things change, the ties change. And, you can change, your friends, you can change your allies, but something you cannot change is your neighbors. So Pakistan and India being neighbors, I think it's in the common interest, in the mutual interest of both the countries to work closely and get over things of the past and look at the future. I think people who just live in the past just stay there. I think we should be in the present and plan for the future. And I think the Kashmir dispute, as you were mentioning, I think it's very clear. I think the Kashmiris and this is what the Kashmiris also feel, that they should have the right of self-determination. If they want to be part of Pakistan, well and good, they should be part of Pakistan. If they want to be part of India, they should be part of India. The decision of their future and their the present should be with Kashmiris, because they have to live here in Kashmir, and they are facing all the problems. So I think the right of self-determination is what the Pakistanis want for Kashmiris, and I think India should also accept that. And instead of creating all these problems, I think it'll be better for both the countries the sooner they realize this. And Pakistan's making a lot of efforts. And what cross-border terrorism are they talking about? I think Pakistan itself is the most affected. And if you look at the recent news and developments, and things are actually pointing towards India, who's been harboring terrorists and trying to create instability in the region in Pakistan.
Right. But there are assessments that a limited war may break out in the near future owing to India's belligerent attitude and refusal to recognize the CPEC. What's your take on such reports?
Well, to be honest with you, their reports, their analysis, I'm sure analysts must have analyzed these and gave their opinion, and I respect their opinions. But I kind of, my opinion regarding this matter is a bit different. I think with the CPAC and China coming in the equation, I think it won't be that easy for a war to break out, or India to throw their weight around or trying to bully us like they have been doing in the past. With China being a very big player in the region, in fact, being the biggest player in the region, I think it'll keep India in its place. And if, hypothetically speaking, if there was a war to break out, which I don't think it will, but in case there is, then India will definitely get a befitting response from Pakistan.
Okay, coming to the situation in Afghanistan, why is its consistent blame game seemingly becoming part of a pre-planned script? Pakistan has already conveyed Kabul to look inward over the recent spate and attacks. Do you believe that President Ashraf Ghani has lost his legitimacy to rule under these circumstances?
Well, I'm not sure if he's actually lost the thing to actually rule, but I think, yeah, definitely it's been undermined. And yes, definitely it's questionable now. Because obviously he's unable to handle the things the way they should have been handled, or they should be handled. And see, two can play this game, blame game. You can keep blaming, India can keep blaming Pakistan can keep blaming India, Afghanistan can blaming, but sometimes you have to do a bit of soul searching and look inside. And sometimes you have to look at the issues which are within and rectify that. Pakistan, we had a lot of internal issues which we actually accepted, and we identified those, and we carried out. Not only if we are today as Pakistan, as we talk about the army, we talk about our government, we talk about Pakistan as a state, as a country. Today, if we talk about Afghanistan getting their house in order, if you're talking about India to stop this cross-border nonsense, or harboring, trying to destabilize, whatever is happening in Balochistan and other regions where there has been evidence of Indian involvement, which we've handed over to the UN and other international people who are going to look into this. But what I'm saying is that before we actually made any acquisitions, or before we actually told India or Afghanistan to get their house in order, we started internal scrutiny of our issues, and we identified the problems. We came out with, since 2013, we've started an operation, and we've been since then. Our soldiers have fought very bravely internally. We've been able to get rid of a lot of insurgents. We've fought a lot of extremists. We've actually annihilated a lot of enemies within who have been trying to destabilize Pakistan. So when we're telling others that, hey, look inward. So this is not just something which we are preaching but not practicing. This is something which we are also practicing. So we also are going through a process of cleansing and trying to get rid of all these elements. So I think there's nothing wrong if you're telling Afghanistan to do the same. It's going to help the region. It's going to help Afghanistan. It's going to help Pakistan. It's going to help. What do you call it? It's going to help India also. And we talk about CPAC. CPAC is something which Afghanistan needs to understand. It's going to be a gateway to Central Asia. It'll be an additional port. Gwadar is going to be built, and it's a DC port. It can take the biggest ships, and all this is going to benefit Afghanistan because it'll be cheaper transport. It'll be easier access to their country for their goods, their products. Same thing's going to happen in China, and for Pakistan also. 30,000 jobs CPAC has just kicked off, and 30,000 jobs have already been created for Pakistanis, and which is looking to go upwards to around 800,000 to 1 million jobs, which are being created for Pakistan alone. And if you look at the regional trade in this region, when you talk about Central Asia, it comes around to $1,000 billion. Now, if Pakistan, as my country, if we can even capitalize in transit trade of 25% of it, it's going to be, Pakistan's not looking back. We're going to go straight up, and I think it's about time that our neighbors should realize this, and we should be part of our success and not live in the past. I think we should work on global peace, and better ties, and help each other out. Better trade, better opportunities of our people. The cultures are so same of Pakistan, India, Afghanistan. So I think being in the neighborhood, we all should work together to build a better region, a stable region, and just get things going.
Right. My final question is on the same topic, but a different issue. It's on the progress regarding the Afghan peace process that has remained in the limbo for several years. Since Gulbuddin Hikmatyar, who was also known as the Butcher of Kabul back in the 90s, is back in mainstream politics, and Ghani's influence is decreasing rapidly, do you believe that the talks with the Afghan Taliban could end up according to the desired results wished by Beijing, Moscow, and Islamabad?
Well, Gulbuddin's return, I think he's coming back after 16 years. And it's a very recent development. So I think it's too soon to actually assess or analyze or comment on the fact that what will his role be in the future, or how much support, or as in what will he be able to pull off at this stage. I'm sure, as time passes, things will be more clear regarding this. But the Afghan peace process, which is aspired and desired and wanted by Moscow and all these other countries, Russia and all the others, I think it is doable. It is possible. And I think with a strong political will, where all these countries are willing to work together and understand that, sometimes it has to be a win-win situation. It doesn't have to be a win-lose situation. Sometimes you need to work together and look at mutual benefits instead of trying to harm the other country. And I think once that's realized and we can come to consensus, and there should be more dialogue. I feel something which is lacking is that we are a bit slow when it comes to that. It takes time, and then the process is stalled, and then it takes a few more months, and before you know it, few years have passed, and we can't actually come to a conclusion. So I feel a few vested interests who may not want peace in the region or may be benefiting out of with this region being and destabilized and not being able to prosper. We should not let those aspirations of those elements succeed, and we should focus on working together for a peaceful region, for a more prosperous region, and just get things done like that. That's what I believe.
Thank you so much, Ali, for providing your valuable input on these issues.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to have you on Tactical Talk Radio. Until the next episode, good night.